All right, what do we got going on here? Zero hedge. It was all a setup. Pentagon whistleblower exposes Russia probe. Exposes Russia probe reality. And this is one of those things. Remember Obama? We've got the most transparent administration. We've got whistleblower protections. And oh, really? Really? Whistleblowers came out and were destroyed. Lost their jobs, got in big trouble. Like, well, I thought you guys wanted whistleblowers to come out. I thought that's what this was for. Nope. It's for you guys coming so we know who our enemies are, they would think. But now we got a new guy in charge, new sheriff in town named Trump. So anyways, this is from SarahCarter.com. I'm sure you heard of her through Zero Hedge here. Adam Lovinger, a former Defense Department analyst, never expected that what he stumbled on during his final months at the Pentagon would expose an integral player in the FBI's handling of President Donald Trump's campaign and alleged Russia collusion. Lovinger, a whistleblower, is now battling to save his career. The Pentagon suspended his top secret security clearance May 1st, 2017, when he exposed through an internal review that Stephen Halper, who was then an emeritus Cambridge professor, had received roughly $1 million in taxpayer-funded money to write Defense Department foreign policy reports. His attorney, Sean Bigley, said. Before Lovinger's clearance was suspended, he had taken a detail to the National Security Council as Senior Director for Strategy. He was only there for 5 months before he was recalled to the Pentagon, stripped of his prestigious White House detail, and ordered to perform bureaucratic make-work in a Pentagon annex Bigley calls the land of misfit toys. His security clearance was eventually revoked in March of 2018, despite the Pentagon refusing to turn over a single page of its purported evidence of Lovinger's wrongdoing, Bigley stated. Conservative watchdog group Judicial Watch recently filed a federal lawsuit against the Defense Department to obtain the withheld records. Lovinger also raised concerns about Halper's role in conducting what appeared to be diplomatic meetings with foreigners on behalf of the U.S. government because his role as contractor forbids him from doing so, according to U.S. federal law. An investigation by SarahCarter.com reveals that the documents and information Lovinger stumbled on and other documents obtained by this news site raise troubling questions about Halper, who was believed to have worked with the CIA and part of the matrix of players in the Bureau's Crossfire Hurricane investigation into Trump's 2016 presidential campaign. Halper, who assisted the FBI in the Russia investigation, appears to also have significant ties to the Russian government, as well as sources connected directly to President Vladimir Putin. Halper did not respond to requests for comment. When Mr. Lovinger raised concerns about DOD's misuse of Stephen Halper in 2016, he did so without any political designs or knowledge of Mr. Halper's spying activities, Bigley told SarahCarter.com. It's actually SarahACarter.com. Instead, Mr. Lovinger simply did what all Americans should expect of our civil servants. He reported violations of law and a gross waste of public funds to his superiors. And for that, Bigley said Lovinger had paid the ultimate price in his 12-year career as a strategist in the Pentagon's Pentagon's Office of Net Assessment. According to Bigley, shortly after Lovinger began reporting and asking questions about suspicious contracts given to Halper and others, including one person closely associated to, what's this? Chelsea Clinton, Hillary Clinton's daughter, no kidding. His security clearance was suspended. Later, on April 3rd, 2018, the DoD's Washington Headquarters Services Director Barbara Westgate sent a letter to Lovinger indefinitely suspending him from duty and pay status after his clearance was removed in March. The letter stated the Purpose of this memorandum is to notify you that I am proposing to indefinitely suspend you from duty and pay status in your positions as a foreign affairs specialist. Lovinger, who is married with 3 children and is the family's primary breadwinner, has been living off the generosity of family members since his pay was removed. The retaliation for whistleblowing was something bigly expected. Quote, so we weren't surprised when DoD bureaucrats moved shortly thereafter to strip Mr. Lovinger of both his security clearance and his detail to the National Security Council, where he had been senior director for strategy as a by-name request of the incoming Trump administration, said the attorney. So you got a guy doing his job. He doesn't care about politics. It's not left, right. I'm just here to do a job. And I found some disturbing stuff. Taxpayer money being wasted to the tunes of millions. Close ties over here to Chelsea Clinton. Like, there's some stuff going on. I need to let some people know about this. What's that? I'm getting demoted. I'm sorry, what's that? My pay's being not just cut, completely removed. I'm sorry, what's that? My security clearance is gone? Correct. This is the kind of guy I, as an American citizen, and you as an American citizen, should be saying, we want to keep this guy in office. He's doing his job. But again, the bureaucrats and this guy's, if he's willing to talk about this stuff, if he digs any deeper, the stuff he's going to find on us, we'll be in big trouble. We got to get rid of this guy. And they did. Quote, yet we were puzzled by the unprecedented ferocity of efforts to discredit Mr. Lovinger, including leaks from DoD of false and defamatory information to the press, he said. See, that is a tactic you will learn, if you haven't already, that the club uses. What was that guy's name? Steven something. He was a great scientist. I mean, had, certifications and whatnot out the yin yang. Steven something, I thought was his name. Started investigating 9/11. They had to make him look like a quack. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He's the most idiotic person in the room. They had to bury him the same way. That is what they do. Character assassination is what that is called. Our assumption was that the other contractor about whom Mr. Lovinger explicitly raised concerns, a close confidant of Hillary Clinton, was the reason for the sustained assault on Mr. Lovinger, and that certainly may have played a role. Bigley suspects it was more than the Clinton-connected contracts, adding, quote, Mr. Lovinger unwittingly shined a spotlight on the deep state's secret weapon, Stephen Halper, and threatened to expose the truth about the Trump-Russia collusion narrative then being plotted. Basically that it was all a setup. Halper's ties to Russian officials raised serious questions. Halper has had a long career and worked in government with several GOP administrations. At 73, the elusive professor spent a career developing top-level government connections, not just through academia, but also through his work with members of the intelligence apparatus. Those contacts and the information Halper collected along the way would eventually, through apparent circumstance, become utilized by the FBI against the Trump campaign. But it was during his time hosting the Cambridge Intelligence Seminar at the University of Cambridge where Halper shifted from a professor and former government consultant to FBI informant on the Trump campaign. In 2016, Halper was an integral part of the FBI's investigation into short-term Trump campaign volunteer Carter Page. Halper first made contact with Page at his seminar in July 2016. Page, who was already on the FBI's radar, was accused of being sympathetic to Russia and sought better relations between the U.S. and Russian officials. Halper stayed in contact with Page until September 2017. During that time, the FBI sought and obtained a warrant from the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court, or FISA, or in this case FISC, to spy on Page and used Halper to collect information on him, according to sources. The House Intelligence Committee Russia report and documents obtained by this outlet revealed that the bulk of the warrant against Page relied heavily on an unverified dossier compiled by former British spy Christopher Steele and the matter is still under congressional investigation. Steele, who was a former MI6 agent, also has ties to many of the same people, like former MI6 chief Sir Richard Dearlove, who was part of the seminar, by chance, of course. Halper, along with Dearlove, not to be confused with Michelle White Dove, oh no, this is Dearlove, left the Cambridge intelligence seminar in December 2016, saying they were concerned about Russian influence. Halper had told reporters at the time that it was due to unacceptable Russian influence. Ironically, documents obtained by SarahAcarter.com suggest that Halper also had invited senior Russian intelligence officials to co-teach his course on several occasions, and according to news reports, also accepted money to finance the course from a top Russian oligarch with ties to Putin. So see how this works? It ain't Trump that you got to worry about. It's the Hillary crowd you have to worry about with the whole collusion, Trump-Russia collusion. Several course syllabi from 2012 and 2015 obtained by this outlet revealed Halper had invited and co-taught his course on intelligence with the former director of Russian intelligence, General Vladimir I. Chubnikov. On May 4, 2012, the course syllabus states, Ambassador Vladimir will comment on the challenges faced while directing the Foreign Intelligence Service, his tenure as ambassador to India, President Putin, and the likely course of Russia's relations with Britain and for the U.S. In May 2015, he returned to teach with Halper at his seminar in Cambridge on current relations between the Russian Federation and the West. Other notable intelligence experts attended the event in 2015, including Major General Peter Williams, a former British commander of the mission to the Soviet forces in Germany. Halper's partner in the seminar, Cambridge professor Neil Kent, has also espoused better relations with Russia and Putin in his writings and told Russia Today in a 2014 interview that everyone is attacking and demonizing Russia. According to Kent's biography, he was a professor from 2002 to 2012 at Russia's St. Petersburg State Academic Institute. Even more interesting are reports from the British media outlet, the Financial Times, that state Halper received funds for the Cambridge seminar from Russian billionaire Andrei Cheklikov, who has close ties to Vladimir Putin. Cheklikov also funded VeruScript in 2016, which raised the suspicion of Dearlove and those connected to the seminar. VeruScript, a publisher for the Russian academic journal, was suspected by MI6 of being a front for Russian intelligence. Kent also happened to be the editor-in-chief of the journal. He published the inaugural article in the journal, the Journal of Intelligence and Terrorism, blaming the West for the Russian invasion into Crimea, but the journal closed down due to their suspicions. Dearlove was also concerned that Russia may be seeking to use the seminar as an impeccably credentialed platform to covertly steer debate and opinion on high-level, sensitive defense and security topics, according to the Financial Times sources. A former senior intelligence official told the news outlet, "It's all smoke and mirrors. Halper was well aware when he was bringing in Trubnikov in 2012 that the Russians were already there at his invitation. The FBI uses Halper to get more information on Trump, his aides, but it's Halper who has the real connection to Russia." There's a little bit more to this article, but the point's made. It was all a setup from the beginning. The whistleblowers come across this information. Let's see if there's anything at the very bottom about this. This guy in the beginning that lost all of his pay and his ranking and security clearance. But during the time, Flynn was already, talking about Halper, Michael Flynn, was already walking a fine line with the Obama administration and battling President Obama and the CIA over his deep disagreement with the administration's narrative that Al-Qaeda, an extremist group, had been defeated or were on the run. Yeah, another lie. Anyways, a little bit more to that if you want to read it. I'll put the link up. Take care.